Hello, everyone. My name is Cheyann, and I've decided that I'm going to do a podcast. So, without further ado, here we go. Hey, it's Cheyann, the funny, infertile, former fat friend. People have asked many questions about the journey throughout my life, whether it come to PCOS, IVF, my gastric, my blood pressure, my blood sugar, friends, family, trauma, whatever. So I figured, hey, I'll just use this to my advantage and let's start a podcast. So here we go. My name's Cheyann. I'm 32 years old. I live in the little town of Webb City, Missouri. I have 2 cats and a dog, Bub, Sis, and Draco. My family is very important to me. I have many nieces and nephews who are my absolute world. I have no shame in my aunting game. None at all. I have gone through multiple health and wellness things. I've done the yo-yo diets. I've done the phentermine. I've done Ozempic. I've done all of the things, and my doctors finally agreed that we should do gastric bypass. So I've done it all, and I can't wait to share all of the stories with you guys. I'm currently a psychology major, and I only have a couple of years left. I work for a small business in town, and I absolutely love my job. And I just decided that I thought that this would be fun. So here we go. So the name Funny Infertile Former Fat Friend has come from a lot of different things in my life. The funny part, if you know me, I'm a huge goofball. And unfortunately, I'm funny because of all of the trauma. That's my coping mechanism. I will make a joke out of literally anything. If it's going south fast, I'm going to make you laugh. I've read extensively about trauma responses, and that's mine. But it's not all bad. Sometimes it's good. I just deflect things with humor. But because of that, I'm pretty funny. Most people would agree. I've got some interesting trauma growing up. Actually, next week will be year 24 that my mom passed away. I was 7 years old, and we'll dive deep into that eventually. But I unfortunately have just death is not something that is unfamiliar to me. It started when I was obviously young and has since continued on throughout my life. I've had a lot of death, and so that makes me really funny. I also have a ridiculous laugh. I'm sure eventually you guys will hear it, but it's kind of a mix between a dinosaur and a dying goose, or maybe a couple of geese. It's something that you can't miss, and people know that I have a ridiculous laugh, so hopefully sometime everyone will get to hear it. Next is infertile. Man, this sucks. This sucks so bad. So I'll be 32 next month, and my husband and I have been married for almost 7 years, and we have been dating for 10, or I'm sorry, we've been dating for 9. And, sorry, TMI if my family's listening, but we've never, here it goes. We never were careful. And so, it just really sucks. When we got married, I was like, okay, here we go. I had had the PCOS diagnosis before we actually even started dating. I got it like 2 days before we started dating, but you know, every case of PCOS is different, and it's not a blanket disorder where it's a one size fits all. Um, Unfortunately, that's what makes it so complex, is because everybody is different. There's 4 key types. I personally have insulin resistance. I have no normal cycle. I never have. I have to take medication for it to start. And so we knew that it would probably be a problem. I knew too that my parents had a little bit of issues getting pregnant. My parents were married for 10 years before they got pregnant and had me. So I didn't expect for it to be easy. Well, nothing in my life has ever been easy, but I didn't expect for it to be easy. I just didn't expect it to be this difficult. I have done all of the things that you can think of, including gastric bypass, to try to realign my hormones. And unfortunately for me, it's just not worked. So we moved to IVF, and we decided last year, July of 2023, that we were actually going to try surrogacy. However, I spoke with my endocrinologist and my primary care and my surgeon, and they all encouraged me to try some transfers to me to see if it would work. And so, again, this is stuff we'll dive into, but right now we are still in a holding pattern, and we'll get into that later. But I've got some very interesting things, and I would love to answer questions. I'll have that on Instagram, so you can send them if you have questions, or if anybody's listening that cares. Let's see, the former fat friend. So, like I said, I have PCOS. I am insulin resistant. And so, unfortunately, after my PCOS diagnosis, I just continued to climb in weight. And if you know anything about being insulin resistant, unfortunately, weight loss is not your friend at all. So I yo-yo dieted, I phentermined, I stopped eating, I ketoed, I Whole30'd, you name it, I did it. I've tried it. I've been there. I've done that. When Ozempic came out in 2020, I started that. I had great success on that, but unfortunately, you cannot take Ozempic and get pregnant. So when the end goal is pregnancy, then you cannot do that. So that was stopped, and then we moved on to gastric bypass, and that so far has been successful. So I would consider myself the former fat friend. Last thing I really want to talk about on the podcast is friendships. Friendships as adults can be so strange. Some of my very best friends I see literally once a year, but I talk to frequently, and I just want to talk about things that as an adult that have happened to me. Some of it might be a little buzzword triggering, but I want this podcast to be real, and I want people to relate to me, and I want them to know that they're not alone when they're battling things internally about friendship. As an adult, like I said, it's hard. It's really hard to not keep friends, but find who your good friends in life are. But when you do find them, you hold on to them as tight as you can. And I feel like as an early 30s woman, that's what I am doing and navigating right now. So yeah, I'm very passionate in all these things that I'm talking about, and I hope that you guys find them interesting as well. I do want to say I am not a doctor. This is a disclaimer. Woo woo. I'm not a doctor. So any of the information that I am speaking, I hope to only spread news and spread what's happened to me and the things that I have gone through and the things that I have learned. Unfortunately, the things that I have been through might not work for everyone, but if it can help someone who's struggling to either question more or to take a deeper dive into, what's going on with them, or what type of questions should I ask my doctor? What do you, where did you start? How did you get from A to B? How did you make that decision? How are you there? All of those things are things that I hope to answer. But like I said, I am absolutely not a doctor. And before doing anything that I've done, I would suggest consulting with your doctor first before making those decisions. So that's my little disclaimer. As of right now, I promised myself that I would do this for 10 weeks. I would do this for 10 whole weeks, release a podcast a week for 10 weeks. That is my goal. If you know me, you know that I'm very motivated. I guess I shouldn't say motivated, because let's get real. Some days I just literally lay on the couch for all day. I am persistent and resilient. Those are two words that I like to define myself by, and which is great, but also can get me in trouble. But I'm going to try this for 10 weeks, and then we will see where I'm at, and if this is something that I still enjoy, or if this is something that I'm like, this is a bit of a chore and I'm over it. But my plan would be to continue these little episodes, and to help the community of people who feel like me, stuck in a rut, or have questions and don't know where to turn. Just help get some more information out there. And yeah, I will ask, unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, in this world, literally people ask for all kinds of random things. People literally buy feet pics, and I'm about it. Go off, queen. If that's what you want to do, go off. But I am going to ask that people subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can also follow me on Spotify and on Instagram. I will have all of those linked in my bio. I cannot believe I'm saying that. But I'll have them linked in my bio on Instagram. If you'd just give them a follow, I would appreciate it. That just further solidifies the decision that I'm making, that this is something that is interesting, and this is something that you, the listeners, are interested in. But I'm excited to start this journey. I decided to do this a couple of months ago, and I'm just now pulling the trigger, which I've been very, very nervous about. And I don't know. We're just going to see kind of where it goes. I don't have fancy equipment right now. I'm not doing any video yet. I've talked with a podcast producer, and they've asked me if I was interested in that. And I guess if we can grow this community, and if I love what I'm doing here, and I know that I'm helping people, maybe eventually. But as of now, I'll just kind of take little snippets and put them on my Instagram or whatever. So anyway, like I said, subscribe, follow, all of the things, and I'll catch you next week on the Funny Infertile Former Fat Friend. Bye!